I find it so interesting how when you ask somebody one specific question, it tells you so much about their level of self confidence. And that question is, do you want to do insert name of new thing here? I think it says a lot because specifically when someone answers, I wouldn't even be good at that. It it tells you so much. And real quick, I think there's a huge distinction between self esteem and self confidence. I think they get mixed up a lot. Self esteem, in my mind, is more like how you feel about yourself, right? Like I can think I'm an amazing person, but when it comes to self-confidence, that has more to do with your ability to do like a specific thing. So, I can think I'm an amazing person with great qualities and have no confidence that I will learn how to ride a bike. Or I can have no confidence that I can do an adult coloring book or whatever. You see what I'm saying? You're hearing the distinction there. And you can have one without the other, but specifically when it comes to self confidence, I think it affects your ability and willingness to try things that might make you happy. That might, I guess both can do that, but again, we're talking about self confidence here. And your ability to do things, your willingness to try things that could make you happy and make your life more interesting overall. I know it's kind of like a weird thing to mention, but here's what I mean. What initially got me thinking about this was thinking about the kind of huge changes that I have made in my life over the last few years. And if this is your first time here, hi, hello, how are you? My name is Alexis Antoinette, and I talk a lot about moving across the country, about starting a brand new career at what, 28, which isn't like old, but when you've been in a career for 10 years, it's a lot. And just my whole life, solo traveling, traveling the world, I noticed that in times when my self confidence is low, I look around at my life and it feels like there's fewer things to be proud of. Because, like, for example, when I moved across the country, when I started my new career, my self esteem was in the toilet. It was in the toilet, like down the pipes. But for some reason, I still had this like wild sense of self confidence that like I can do anything. And part of that absolutely is like prayer and faith and that sort of thing. But even outside of that, it's like in times when I still felt horrible about myself, I was still willing to take a leap to travel outside the country by myself. I was still in a place where even if I felt like, I don't want to say I didn't deserve it, but there were definitely times when I felt like I didn't deserve for good things to happen to me, which now that I'm saying that out loud is like crazy. Um, have I ever said that out loud? Goodness. Okay, sorry. Back to the original point of the video. There were times when my level of self confidence enabled me to do amazing things in my life. Again, outside of prayer and the more overarching themes of my life. I think that immediate thought in my head was never, I can't do that, or I wouldn't even be good at this thing. And that tells you so much because whether it's starting a new career, whether it's traveling the world, whether it's reaching out and trying to make new friends or starting a new hobby, whatever it is, like you need the foundation of self confidence to be able to push yourself to do it. Even when you don't feel good about yourself, even when you don't feel like you deserve good things, even when there's a lot of negativity in your life. having that foundation of like, no, I can do it. I am capable. Again, even in the times when you don't feel good about you as a whole. I find it so incredibly it's a bit of a vulnerable process to build self-confidence. And to be honest, there are still aspects of it that I'm working on and working through. But I will say that in working through this, I catch myself sometimes. It doesn't happen so often. If there's been any theme in my life, I think it's being confronted with, hey, you want to try this new thing, or this might be a challenge. And it's very rare that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. But in the times that it does happen, I find myself stopping and saying, like, wait, why can't I do this? Why don't I feel like I can accomplish this thing? And I'm finding that there are ways, and maybe not finding, but realizing that there are a lot of ways to build self-confidence. It's like I think I've talked about microdosing risk in a couple of my videos, where like you take these itty bitty vulnerable steps, you put yourself out there just a little bit. It could be, you wanting to make new friends and you don't want to go to like a mixer or go to a party by yourself. And so you take like itty bitty steps of connection with people. It could be, having a 2-second longer conversation at Starbucks when you're making your order. It could be, asking the person next to you at a restaurant, like, oh, hey, I really like your watch, really like your purse, whatever. It's the itty bitty ways that you build confidence. And again, going back to, I guess, the original theme here, building that foundation enables you to do so much with your life. Like, I look back, and even looking forward, I'm looking at all of the things that I have planned for myself this year, all of the kind of steps that I've put in place in order to get me to where I want to be. And I would do none of it if I didn't have the confidence to just try something, to just see if it works. And I think that's the other thing with confidence as well, because even with this YouTube channel, right? I know that, well, one, I haven't told a ton of people about it, but I know that there are so many people who have heard me and will hear me say, oh, I started a YouTube channel. And their immediate thought will be negative for one reason or another, which, again, nuance, a little understandable. But if I didn't have enough confidence in myself to not care what anybody thought of this process, to not care if it worked, to not care if I ever built an audience, the channel would never have been started. But I can see how it would snowball into other aspects of my life, because you need the confidence to do things without the external validation, without other people saying like, yeah, you're going to be able to do this and it's going to work and you're going to be so successful and you're going to build this huge audience, you're going to get so many viewers and so many subscribers and whatever else I choose to do with this channel, right? And in all things, in most things, again, having that kind of switch turned off in your brain to the external validation is kind of what's going to drive so much of your life. So much of what you look back on 5-10 years from now and say like, wow, I'm so happy I did that. Chances are it's going to be confidence. It's going to be the confidence to take a risk, the confidence to, it doesn't even have to be a leap. It could be a step, but any of that, it's like you have to you have to separate yourself from the external validation and from that feeling of, ooh, what if I'm not good at this? What if it doesn't work out? What if it turns out bad? And again, this is something that I'm still constantly working on. As much as you can look at this channel and see that I've posted 100+ videos and think like, wow, she doesn't have a confidence problem. She's put her face out on the internet, which is, as a side note, I think it's so interesting because years ago, I was actually thinking about starting a YouTube channel, and I was like, what can I do that's faceless? Like, there are so many. If you put in the search bar, don't do it now, finish watching this video, but if you put into the search bar like faceless YouTube channel, there are so many videos with hundreds of thousands and millions of views, because people want to do this without their face being on camera, which I get. Trust me, it is an extremely vulnerable place to be, but that's kind of a side note. I find it interesting. Yeah, so now at this point, I'm trying to practice turning that voice off, turning that switch off, turning off that immediate, like, I won't be able to do this, and switching to the other lane of just try. Why not? Literally, why not? I wouldn't have been to some of the countries I have been to if I wasn't just like, why not? Why not go to this place? Why not? Some of us are not using our free will to our full capacity, and it's because we don't have the confidence to. Not because we don't have the ability, not because we've never thought about it, but because it's like, ooh. Yeah. So again, I'm not even sure what I want people to get out of this video, to be quite honest. But yeah, I hope that everyone, if you're not already there, which I think all of us in one way or another are working on our confidence, but I hope that all of us spend maybe some more deliberate time thinking about like, why do I have that reaction to trying something new, to trying something that's a little uncertain? Like, ooh, that little recoil, that little cringe, that little like muscle tightening reflex that we have. Yeah. So anywho, stop yapping. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you don't know, my name is Alexis, and I post every single day here on YouTube about all things travel, transformation, and tech. So if that's interesting to you, if you like these little yap sessions, feel free to hit subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow.